Well, thanks for coming out. Uh, tough season for us, and very challenging year on and off the court. And but I think we we learned a lot from this, and I think our team will grow from this, and we're going to take a lot of the positives that came out of this year, but definitely a very challenging year. I commend our coaching staff, our players. I think the organization, our fans, for I think putting them through a year like this is it's not easy for all of us. I think over the last decade we've seen winning in this organization, and for us to go through a year like that, this was tough on everybody. But we really see the bright side. I think sports is a cycle, and our organization is going to go through different cycles, and this is our time. But we're going to take all the positives from this and build on as much as we can going forward. I think Darko and his staff did an excellent job with the situation. If I think of positives, I think some of the talent, Scotty Barnes, his upside growth as a player, all-star. I think we are very excited about that with our ball club. So tough year overall, but we're looking to the future now, and this is the process that I think we have to go through in this organization, and we'll come out of it well.
Masai, how committed are you guys to, a rebuild that could take time, and you could go into this draft lottery and, you finished 2-19 to finish the season, and you may not have a pick to show for it. Next year is supposed to be a very good draft. 26 sounds like it's got promise as well. So if you don't end up keeping your pick this year, what will you do in the years to coming without losing a first-round pick?
If we don't keep our pick this year, I think we get our pick next year. Yeah, and I think
still top six.
Yeah. If we get the pick.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have your pick this year, would you be committed to making sure you draft in the top six either the next 2 years?
I think for us, if we don't, if the pick conveys this year, then we have the pick next year, correct?
I'm saying if you don't keep it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Then you would still owe it to San Antonio,
mm-hmm.
And so the potential is you're not going to have. You're here rebuilding, but you might not have a really good pick and a really good draft in either the next 2 years.
I think we'll see how the year starts and plays out. I think we're going to give these players and this team the opportunity to play. We've not been able to, I think, bring these guys together to play, and that's the plan. As we go into the off season, is to continue development, and these things take time, so I think either way it plays out well for us. We get a high pick this year, or next year we play ball and see where we stand. If you're not picking high next year, then your team is good, or your team is progressing the right way. That's the way we've seen it. That's the way it's been also in the past. I think we've picked in the lottery. I think it's 3 times with Jakob, Grady, and Scotty. And we attack the draft the same way. Anyway, we try to find talent, and sometimes you're going to have success at it, and sometimes you're not, especially when you pick late. But we understand what picking early is, and we're committed to it, and we're going to see where the growth of this team is, and we'll go from there.
To follow up on Graham's question, you've spoken a lot about the need for patience in this building process, and to your credit, you guys have been patient all the way through, but you've also valued winning. Do you think it's going to be tough as this process goes forward for you guys to remain patient and see this process through, and I guess avoid the temptation to potentially try to expedite the process before you're ready to do so?
We're going to do what's best for the team, to be honest, and we're going to try and grow this team the best possible way, use our instincts and experience to build this team the best way. Nothing is going to be, everything we do here is patient. You know that, that's kind of how we've been. We were patient this year. It takes a lot of patience to go through all of that. There are temptations here to try to make the team try to push and do deals that might not, help the team in future. But we have to look at the future of this team and be patient to see what the potential of this team. We have a young star in our mix with Scotty Barnes, young players, quickly, RJ Barrett, Grady. These guys we want to continue to grow. So I think we have to be patient with them and see where they eventually get to. So yeah, there's going to be no, I think, okay, if Ronaldo becomes available and we have to sign Ronaldo, or trade for Ronaldo, yes, but I don't know that, we're going to make crazy moves here, to try to speed in this thing up. That's not what it's about. But we will try to make our team better if an opportunity comes, and it's the right opportunity.
One of the misses this year was John Tate. You missed your due diligence on that guy? And the good team with him?
We didn't. We did all due diligence, and I think from all the reports and everything we had, I think this was nothing we could know about, and I think all of that is under the NBA's investigation. So we go out there and try to do the best due diligence we can, with everybody individually, and we did that with Jante too.
Where does that stand right now? Do you know?
Yes, I do know it's with the NBA, and it's still under investigation, and we wait for their guidance with that.
Has the NBA, have their investigators contacted you, or to the best of your knowledge, anyone else in the organization, just to ask questions or look into things further?
Oh yeah, the NBA is going to do their homework, and whoever is working for them is going to do their homework and their due diligence to ask all the questions, and our organization is going to comply, with everything, and we have.
When did the situation first come to your attention, and what was your reaction when you first heard about, obviously, the very serious allegations?
First of all, you don't want this for the kid, you don't want this for our team, and we don't want this for our league. That's for sure. That's my first reaction is obviously surprise, because none of us, I don't think anybody saw anything like this coming. You prepare as much, for all kinds of situations in the NBA, but definitely didn't see this coming. But we act in accordance of what the NBA rules and regulations are of dealing with things like this, and we move forward with it.
Have you been in touch with Jante since these allegations came forward?
I have, but I think we keep that, I think between ourselves and the team.
So what do you mean by patience in terms of looking into the future? Fans, I'm sure, are anxious to get back winning. What does patience look like to you?
I think we're in a very unique situation, because sometimes you start this rebuild with draft picks and space, and you try to have talent here and there. I think the most difficult thing to do when you do things like this, I think, is finding the Scotty Barnes of the world, And we're lucky to have a really good young player like this to build around, so I think it's going to be steady in his time, and we'll see, how we grow. So sometimes rebuilds can take 3 to 6 years. Sometimes, teams act before, but I think we're going to see how this process goes and use our instincts with it. But patience is going to be a big thing with this team.
Masai, you spoke in the offseason about changing the team's culture. Do you feel that the culture's changed, and if so, in what ways?
I maybe I was a little bit unfair, like with the other guys, but on trying to, keep a stance and try to get everybody back in the right direction. So maybe it came off wrong, how I used that, but I was trying to be very aggressive, like with our team in trying to get us back, like to who we are, playing the right way, like playing for each other, and winning, back to winning, which I think we've proved that we can do in this organization. So I don't think as people, as persons, like our culture, like ever went anywhere, but I think we got away a little bit from maybe playing how, like we would, all of us, like would want to play or want to see the game. And I think now, I think Darko has instilled, like a certain way, and we're going to move with that. But I think the culture is one of the things that has held us, from falling apart in, like tough times like this. And I think I'm very proud of the organization, the team, ownership, everybody, staying with this and grinding it through, because it's not easy on anybody. It's just not. Like I'm sure it wasn't easy for you guys to watch. There sometimes it's unwatchable. Sometimes like you feel, but we have to grind through it. We've seen other organizations go through this, and we're going to. Yes, but if there's one thing I think like has never moved, like I think our culture has really kept us through this, and I'm proud of all the workers, all the departments, everybody that has kind of contributed to this.
Is this at all similar to when you first came here and first started and had to build from the beginning? Is there similarities to what you have to do now?
Yes, there's a lot of similarities, I think, to it. Yeah, I think with where I think when we first came here, Dwayne Casey, Kyle Lowry, and DeMar DeRozan set the tone for what our culture was. And this hard work, this incredible passion for the game, this winning, but those guys were experienced. Yeah, those guys were very experienced. I think the difference we have here is the player that we're building around is a young player. We're building around a first-time head coach in the NBA who's done a remarkable job. And it's all young players, like that haven't really like done it on that level. You can say Kyle, DeMar, and Coach Casey had been at a certain level and were at a certain age, like when we had that situation. So similar in some ways, Steve, but I think different with experience and age maybe.
How can you augment that young group with as free agents or as acquisitions through summer? What kind of guy do you want to get, and how can you entice them to come here?
Sometimes, Doug, I think we have to instinctively look at what the timing is going to be with that. I think throwing Grady into the fire, throwing Ochai into the fire, like is going to help them grow at a certain stage. And then putting players like Olenek, who plays the right way with them, is going to help them grow like a little bit more. So I think instinctively we're going to look to see which kind of players are available that will help these young players like continue to grow. So it's something that's on our mind, obviously, but but we're not just going to do it just to do it.
Going the other way with the younger guys, a lot of people aren't too excited about this draft. Are you? And whether that's if you keep this top 6 pick or if it's just the Pacers pick and the 31st pick?
It doesn't matter, like I think players are found everywhere. I can guarantee you there are going to be 2-3 all-stars that will come out of this draft here. It happens every year, happens all the time, and it's on us. It's with the responsibilities on us to find those players wherever we pick. So we can complain about a draft or a draft class as much as we want. I think maybe sometimes people say a bad draft class was Giannis's class, but Giannis, Gobert, those guys got picked from that class. So we have to do our jobs, and it's on us.
So you mentioned the remarkable job Darko did. I was just wondering, from your vantage point, what about his performance in his first year on the job did you find remarkable, and maybe what kinds of things that we don't get to see or fans don't get to see or that don't translate into standings did you like about the job he did?
Extremely positive. I think one of the best at communicating, not only with players, but also with all departments at all levels. I think instilling how he wants to play offensively and defensively. For me, developing players has been and will be, and we know that was his strength, is in developing players. He knows the process. You see what he has done with some of the young players that we've had, including Scotty, jumping a level from maybe what some of us call, last year, a year that he kind of leveled out, a little bit, so making him jump. So I think on all fronts, we've dealt him a tough hand, and that's on us. But for what he was given, I think we went through 30 or 31 players this year, and for us, it's a difficult situation for a first-time head coach. But in terms of everything else outside of results, I think Darko did an incredible job.
When you talk about culture, how would you describe it as it is right now? And can culture be created with this young core without necessarily vet presence?
Oh, yes, 100%. I think Darko sets a tone. I think the tone we've set with developing young players, I think Scotty Barnes sets a tone. I think you can tell from RJ Barrett, from Emmanuel Quickly, these guys, the way they have come out here and taking this on the chin and really, really like taking responsibility to what they want the future of this ball club to be. I'll say that's the culture we want, that's the passion we want and the thinking about winning, and we assure our fans that we think about them every day, and I know we're all aware. I know these guys are all aware that, we have to produce, we have to play, but this is the process and this is the situation we're in. There's one thing I'm 100% sure: the culture of this team will always be at a high level. And yes, we're going to go through adversity just like every other place, human being, organization, or anything. Yeah, but the culture of this place is always going to be strong.
Vince Carter was elected to the Hall of Fame and obviously has a pretty big place in Raptors history. What can you tell us sort of about how the organization might plan to honor him next season? And is there anything you want to share about just his induction?
A secret. Love him. He's the best. I think, like everything else, just like we're going through here, had ups and downs, right? Maybe when he left, here. But I think what Vince has done, as a player, not not only the length of his career, but how he's carried himself, maturity, like even from where we say, I didn't know too much of what went on here, but I know everybody is moving on, and I hope the fans can, and we can embrace, like an unbelievable player that really set a tone, like and set a pathway for all of us to be where we are today.
Looking back on the RJ and IQ trade now, are you happy with how that trade worked out, and what has impressed you about those two players in the time that they've been here?
That was the situation, like we're putting, and I think we had to, at that point, like we decided that we had to make a decision. And we're really happy with these two players. I think we have two young players with great upside. I think even RJ's game has started to change, his efficiency. We're going to work this summer on his defense getting better and three-point shooting. And I think that's where Darko comes in. And I know RJ is bought in and quickly trying to figure out, where he should attack and be a point guard, shoot, all those things, I think will come with time. But in terms of those two players, like we're extremely happy that hopefully we're able to get two young starters to come play for us.
You guys potentially have an avenue to some cap space this summer. You mentioned that a lot of the top free agents are former Raptors guys. What is the value of sort of augmenting a team through free agency, and how do you see the organization viewing free agency this summer?
You can view it in many ways. That's the beauty of having flexibility. So you could use it in players, you could use it to take in contracts and assets, you could use it in many ways. There is, and we wanted that flexibility for our ball club here. I think where we are as a team, we're going to see how we develop and how we grow. We're going to see how the summer starts off with our players, and we'll see how we'll use that cap space.
How much have you guys studied past rebuilds, or even present rebuilds, in terms of ones that have gone well, ones that haven't, and how much of it, I know you've talked a lot about instincts today, how much of it is just kind of just seeing where your own situation is and reading and react from there, as opposed to looking at other teams?
We've studied it from head to toe, everything that you can think of in all sports. Like every single way that you can look at it. So when I say instincts, I'm saying to you that I'm taking responsibility as a leader. It's not that we're not looking at other situations and what other people have done. But at the end of the day, our situation is our situation. Yeah. So yeah, like it goes different ways for different teams. I don't want to call out like names and individuals here because it's not fair to do that. Like some have been successful, some have not been successful, some have taken long, some have not taken so long. Some have been very patient with what they do. Trust me, somebody that worked with me in Jeff Weltman has gone through this, so I talk to Jeff Weltman every other day, so these are things that we all study, with our front office, to the core of it, because I think it's our first time, it's my first time, like going through something like this, so I have to respect it that way.
I think at the beginning of the season, in reference to Dennis Schroeder, speaking of free agents, you thought that might have been a way for the team to improve with Fred moving on. Maybe your theory on why that didn't work out. And also, if you look at some of the free agent signings that have been made the last couple of years, there haven't been very many impactful ones. And, we're not talking big money free agents, but, the biannuals, the mid-levels, that kind of thing. And just, so maybe looking at Dennis and then maybe kind of have you assessed why the effort to add sort of peripheral talent hasn't really worked out very well?
Yeah, it's interesting, Grange, that we've studied all of this, and we just haven't done the last couple of years, we just haven't done very well, like in assessing, like what those fits could be, like, but when you have the staple pieces like we had, like, sometimes you think that with our jobs, you think bringing in, like a certain piece is not going to affect as much, like because you have staple pieces like a Scotty Barnes or like a Pascal Siakam or Giannonobi, those kind of players. But on the lower level, like we 100% need to do like a better job of finding, some of those players. Sometimes Otto Porter didn't work out because he got injured, and those sometimes those things are hard. But yeah, we take responsibility. I don't. When I looked at Dennis Schroeder, and when we looked at Dennis Schroeder, we absolutely like studied it. We saw a point guard that is going to be a tough defender, and come and play here for the team. And unfortunately, I don't know if we gave it enough time, but definitely the time that he was here, not his fault or anything, but I think more our fault. It didn't work out.
Whether it's through the draft or free agency, what's the type of player that you were looking to acquire going to next season?
I think when you look at the draft, I think it's going to be best talent, and we always look at the talent. But that when we attack the draft, but honestly, like our team is not at a point where we can really pick and choose. I know backup point guard is something that we'll focus on a little bit. I think a wing defender type player is something we'll focus on. I think we've been unlucky in the last year or so with really maybe a backup big that is young and suits us in some kind of way. We had high hopes. We forget that one of the shockers this year for us was Christian Koloko, and we had high hopes for Christian Koloko on how he was going to play for us and a future center for this team, and that didn't work out for health reasons. And also Jante Porter, like we don't know where that's going to go. So I think those were two good finds for us that fit our program, like that. Maybe we were unlucky in some kind of way.
I don't know if this is at your level or above you or how it works in the organization, but when you raise ticket prices, as you've done for next season, is that a decision that you make, or is that a decision that's made above you? And why, considering the kind of year that you've had, would you go in that direction?
I wouldn't say it's above me, but it's also concerning like my team. So yes, we have 100% input in this. I think we have to look at market prices everywhere. We have to look at the NBA. I think we have to consider our market, and we have to consider the fans too in every way. So it's been looked at in every possible way that it can be looked at and studied as much as we can and considered. A lot of consideration is made into this. So when these kind of moves are made, like we feel. You feel for the fans sometimes, but this is how business works, and we have to keep plowing away.
What would you like to see from this summer from Scotty and kind of a step forward next year?
I think it's continuous growth. Like I just spent the last couple hours with Scotty this morning, spending a lot of time with him, and he's very passionate. I think he's very anxious. I think not playing really got him in a different mindset. I can already tell the way he sees the game and the way he actually even talks. But he's focused on his shooting. He's focused on strength, leg strength. He's focused on shot blocking. He's focused on being a really good defensive player for this team and being a leader. And that's what we want to see, But guidance, you want to guide these players in the right way Scotty is not somebody that you have to like instill passion or work ethic, to be honest. Like I think some of the critics in the past were, like, does Scotty work, or is he? Scotty works, but sometimes he just doesn't want to do it here. And sometimes Scotty will be in Scotiabank, like working, but now Scotty has the maturity that he has to come and work with his teammates and work here, so it's never been a question, his work ethic or how he is. For me, his passion is always there, and we just need to guide him. But that guy is full of passion, and he wants to win, and I think he's really matured as a player. And this year, he's gone through a lot, and I think we're going to come out of this well in terms of him.
You mentioned that a wing defender is something you would like to look for this summer. You mentioned Scotty is really serious about improving his defense. When you look at the core pieces you have in place, do you see the potential for this team as is to get to a really high level defensively that you need to get to win?
Yes, because I think Scotty is going to continue to grow as a defensive player. I think quickly we'll learn our schemes more. I think RJ is going to take on the challenge, and I think Jakob is one of the high-level defensive players. We're trying to groom. Ochai already has the abilities to be a defender. They're just young, and I think it's going to come with time with these players, and we have to add more. And we'll see, how we can add more. Is where we saw Christian Koloko as a rim protector. We have to figure out how we find, some more of those players. But in terms of defense, I think we're going to continue to grow and get better and find the talent that fits.
Is the door closed on Koloko if he's cleared eventually to return here?
We're still checking on it, we're still keeping tabs on him, and we'll see how things go with his medical. I can't comment here on where his medical is, but we really wish him the best.
Do you think it's easier or harder to relate to young players, after the experience that you've had in the NBA than it was when you first entered the league?
That's a tricky question. Some of us as human beings, we just are going to have the opportunity to relate to this youth, or young players with our jobs all the time. And I think rather than complain about this generation, I think we have to figure out ways to be better at relating to them, and seeing, maybe innovating and seeing where the world is going with social media, our phones, all the things that we feel affect this life now. So is it easier? I think there are challenges to it, but when I think of when I took the job in Denver and the kind of players we had, and really developing relationships with Carmelo, with Kenya Martin, with all the players that we had, I still have unbelievable relationships with them. For me, it's how you relate to them, and it's not all going to be the same. You have to figure out ways to get to people and relate to people, and we'll always try our best to relate the best possible way.
So you have two key free agents this summer with Gary and Bruce Brown potentially. Obviously, you guys have the team option. Do you see them as long-term fits with this organization, especially the way Darko wants to play?
I think we're going to continue to assess that as we go. We're going to go into a lot of our team meetings now and coaches meetings and try and figure that out. I think we had really good meetings with Bruce and Gary, exit meetings, and for me the most important thing is what do they bring to the table. What kind of talent do they have, their character, and I think they do have special talents that they bring, and we'll see how we continue with that and how the market assesses that.
Did you want to see Scotty on the U.S. Olympic team?
I do. I always do. I want to. I saw that roster, and when Kawhi is the last guy you add to the team, what can you say? That's like all-star, like loaded there, and really excited to watch that team. And I think we actually talked to Bobby and Scotty and I talked about this a few minutes ago, and he wants to play USA basketball. He has played USA basketball at all levels and wants to play at this level for sure at some point.
The players had glowing reviews about Garrett Temple in their availabilities. Why is it important to have someone like Garrett on the team, and what do you think his impact has been on the team as a whole?
As a leader, veteran player, positivity, ready to play, great voice, great demeanor. He checks it all. To be honest, he's tough. He was very positive for us, I think, this year. And if you're asking for like a veteran, and veterans that really impact your team in some kind of way, even when they're not playing, I think for me, Garrett Temple and Thaddeus Young really they are those guys. They fit that mode, and we're proud that we had those guys, and we have Garrett. He's a coach, he's a player. He's an experienced player that really imposes his experience on young players and on a ball club.
So you've mentioned a couple times, and today as well, that for some teams a normal rebuild can take as long as 5-6 years. Based on everything you've talked about today and the things you've seen this year and the young talent you mentioned in place, do you have confidence that this won't be one of those rebuilds, or is it just too early to even think like that?
Yeah, I'm patient, but I'm not trying to wait like 6 years. To be honest, it's not we're hoping, you hope with these things that you make the right decisions, you pick the right players, and for me, I think we're going to be patient, but I'm glad that we're starting off with, again, I say the most difficult one. I want our fans to know this, that the most difficult ones are the guys like Scotty to find, and hopefully one other person can emerge on our team, or you get another one, and you're on your way. So we're happy that we're starting off, with this, with Scotty in our hands, but we're really excited about Grady and his development as a player, the kind of player he is, quickly, his development, the kind of player that he can become. You can tell this is not where it's going to end, and RJ, has just become a different kind of player here, and we want to increase that development and that and increase his talent level, maximize it to as much as we can with all these guys. Even the Ochais of the world, Ochai has a potential to be one of the best defenders in the NBA. Yeah, we see that. Maybe you don't see it now, but that's why you do these things and you rebuild, and you have a process and you're patient with all of this.
In that context, do you think it's, when you go to the draft lottery, or I don't know if it's going to be you, are you hopeful that you'll keep your pick and you'll be picking top 6 this year?
Anyway it goes, Grange will be grateful, and we'll be happy if we're not in the top 6. We get our pick next year. And if we're in the top 6, then you know what, we go we'll go out and find the best guy or find whatever transaction that there is, like to make the best use out of it. But honestly, like I don't go into any situation in the NBA draft, like thinking a free agency, thinking, negative in any way. Like you go and try and be the best, try to win it, whether it's a pick, whether it's a negotiation, anything you are going to do, you're trying to like be the best. Yeah, and that's what we want to be here in Toronto and get back on track.
Based on what's reported out there, this new MLC CEO, Keith, and how has that changed your workflow, and has that changed anything at all about your workflow with the Raptors and having to report to the new CEO now as well?
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think that changes in any way. Like, first of all, with Keith, we've got to know him, like a little bit. I think it's so much needed, like with this organization, like that lift, that energy he brings, like what he brings to us, and honestly, even that, like balance with ownership. You just need that, and I think Cynthia did an incredible job. Michael Frisdale was good, like I think we all know what Tim Lywick did, like, but we're super excited about like Keith. That being said, it doesn't change like how we work here, like, and that has been made clear, like it doesn't change anything at all, like on how decisions we make or how we go about making those decisions. We want to work together. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Like we want to build together, build a team here, and their contributions, ownership contributions, everything. Like to be honest, like. They never meddle with anything that we do on the team side, and it's how we contribute on the business side and bring it together. Yeah, like we're all up, like for that, like, and thirdly, it's. I think people see it like as you said, reporting to somebody else. I report to 100 people. Yeah. I report to JQ. I report to my 10-year-old daughter. I report to Bobby. I report to Teresa. She doesn't even work here anymore. Like I report to Doug. Yeah. But I'm still Masai. Nothing is going to fucking change that. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, guaranteed. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I'm like Adam. I have no money. Like, don't find me. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, like honestly, like we focus on our job, and like I'm not. Yeah, sometimes it's perceived outside, like the whole politics of all of this, like I'm not. Yeah, my focus. You guys all know it. I'm not trying to paint a different picture. You know who I am. I don't get involved in any of that stuff. Like it's to do our job and win. Yeah, I make my suggestions. If I make my suggestions and we go, like, and honestly, a lot of the times, like ownership most of the times, ownership has been honestly like unbelievable for us. I have zero complaints. I know people make out the whole sometimes contract stuff and what happened, like, but for me, there's no looming issues. I want to clear that up, like there's none at all, like, and we move forward. And as long as I'm here, I'll work the best possible way I can work here to win, to build this team, to grow, because it's pride for me. I actually feel like something was taken away from me when we won the last championship, and my goal is to freaking win another one, like here. So that's the focus, 100%. That's all I focus on.